Hey guys, are you ready for it? Today's August 18, 2018, 5:52 a.m. Central Time. So a couple people who follow me on Facebook had asked how I felt about this before it actually took place, because the Trump administration said they were thinking about doing this, right? Revoking security clearances. Well, then they actually did, and they revoked John Brennan's security clearance. And that's why I didn't do a video on it. I just responded to them and said, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. I don't think it'll actually happen. And then it happened. So this is my opinion on it, because I do hold a security clearance. From what I understand, it is still active. So haha, John Brennan. But here's the deal. In his particular case, I agree with it. It should have been handled differently, but I agree with it. And I'll tell you why. Now, he's got a list of people that he wants to revoke security clearances from. From what I understand, fucking Comey and Strzok are on that list, which makes no sense to me, because I think if you're canned and you're fired, you shouldn't have a security clearance. Just like if you're fired from a building, not even government related, you have a security badge to a building and you're doing accounting for someone, okay? And you get canned, you're going to get that badge revoked and you're not going to have access to that building anymore. So anyone who got canned shouldn't even have a security clearance. But if you're a former official from the Obama administration or otherwise that still holds a security clearance, like myself, you shouldn't lose it because you're speaking out against Trump. For example, if Comey still has his security clearance for whatever reason, personally, I don't think he should get it revoked or taken away or whatever you so choose, or suspended, whatever, because he hasn't criminally done anything. Or has been accused of criminally doing anything, like Flynn, whose security clearance I think is suspended but not revoked. But Comey came out and did a book, right? Going against Trump, talking about his hands, his orange tan, like stupid shit. His book was useless. It was fucking toilet paper, right? But he didn't say or insinuate anything in his book, or from what I've seen, interviews or otherwise, that something was going on, criminally or otherwise, during the Trump campaign with Russia. That's what this all boils down to, is the whole stupid Russia collusion crap, okay? He's never insinuated that he knew something, knows something, has something, whatever, and put it out in the public, okay? So Comey, if he has a security clearance, the only reason it should get revoked is because he was fired. But that's my example, okay? Just because you speak out against Trump, you shouldn't get your shit revoked. In John Brennan's case, in Clapper's case, I think Clapper should lose his security clearance too. When you have a security clearance, you have to have, first of all, integrity to not abuse it, okay? Whether it be literally going in and looking at something you're not supposed to, or verbally going out in the public and insinuating you have seen or have something or whatever, something that the public doesn't even have access to, okay? And you're making bank on it. But here's the problem that I have with Clapper and Brennan. And I'm glad Brennan got his shit revoked. And Brennan freaked out. I'm going to show you what he wrote in a op-ed. And I'm going to show you what a letter that was written, or a statement by several, I think a dozen, former intelligence heads, okay? I'm going to read them because they disagree with me. And I think if I gave them this video and explained to them exactly how I feel about the situation, they may have mixed feelings on it, be a mixed bag of people at that point. Because if you're insinuating, like for example, I'm able to look at the sky, okay? And the entire world cannot. Generally, there's a few dozen of us that can look up, but nobody else can look up. And it's always been questioned what color the sky is. And I go out on TV and I insinuate, well, the sky looks similar to a tree. I'm not telling you it looks green. It could be green, it could be brown, depending on if the tree's dead, it could be black, like who knows. But I'm insinuating that I've seen it, and I'm giving you kind of an idea of what it could be, but not telling you what it is. The public's going to eat it up. They're going to eat it up. They're going to believe it and everything else. And that's what these people have been doing in the media. That's what Clapper and Brennan have been doing. For example, he just shoved his opinion out again and gave me more of a reason why your security clearance should be revoked, Brennan. He wrote an editorial in the New York Times on Thursday after Trump revoked his security clearance, said, quote, "The only question that remains are whether the collusion that took place constituted criminally liability conspiracy, whether obstruction of justice occurred to cover up any collusion or conspiracy, and how many members of Trump Incorporated," is what he wrote, "attempted to defraud the government by laundering and concealing the movement of money into their pockets," end quote. What the hell does that tell you? It tells you either a couple things. Brennan's full of shit, okay? He knows nothing about this situation other than what's in the media, and he's making assumptions, okay, that someone in the Trump campaign or Trump Incorporated did money laundering and concealing shit, which we know the DNC did with the whole dossier going through GPS and law firms and all this stuff, with the DNC filtering money through their lawyers in order to pay for a dossier. So we know that, but publicly, we know nothing about any type of laundering or concealing money regarding the Trump campaign, other than someone who is not related to the Russia shit, which is Manafort, which I think he's screwed. Okay, and he's probably, wish he never had anything to do with the Trump campaign at this point. But his situation is totally different. Okay, so if he's trying to insinuate that because Manafort was in this situation, maybe he needs to use somebody's name. Okay, he's saying there's only a question of whether the collusion that took place. So he's saying there is collusion, okay, between the Trump campaign and Russia, is whether it constituted criminal liability or obstruction of justice cover up that collusion or conspiracy. Okay, there's also, you have to know there's two different terms there: collusion and conspiracy. Collusion is not a crime. It is not in the U.S. Code. Conspiracy is. Big difference. John Brennan is reckless. And when it comes to not just saying, oh, well, Trump, I'll show you that other article. When Trump, he's criticizing Trump, he's putting this stuff out in the sphere for people to believe. On top of that, he's going out there and saying this stuff, okay? If he goes out there and says, and I think he might have, or Clapper did, one of them said he's a traitor. That's just an opinion, whatever. That he shouldn't, nobody should get their security clearance saying that the president's a traitor and needs to be hung, okay? I mean, that's just a fucking opinion. But when you go as far as Brennan did in that op article after he got his shit fucking revoked, bam, nail in the coffin, Brennan. Nail in the coffin. So if someone as high up as a CIA director says shit like that, or comes out and insinuates about other situations outside of the Russia collusion situation, it is indeed a national security issue because of John Brennan's position that he held. He knows a lot of the nation's secrets, obviously. We have a lot of different people around this world that we trust in other countries for information. Hence, I dealt with the intelligence community. I am aware of that type of situation. Those people could easily stop talking to us, and we could go dark in certain areas because of these types of actions. When John goes out there and speaks like that and says some stupid shit about a political situation, issues, literally, it's become a political situation. It's not even fucking worth talking about. Then they may be scared that if they tell us this, blah, 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 and there's a lot of leaking issues with the Trump administration, not campaign. If they tell us this about so-and-so, either A, their name could get out because these people talk their asses off, or B, the information they give us could be insinuated by some jackass who leaves the administration, goes on a network and says some stupid shit. That would be horrible for national security on our part if it were to happen that way, but it also would silence people from speaking to us. And people aren't seeing the bigger picture on that, obviously. But like I said, there's instances where some of these people who are on this list, they're just chilling. They're not doing anything. They're not even necessarily speaking out against the Trump administration. And if they are, who cares? They're not doing what John Brennan and Clapper have been doing. Okay? This was a statement from former senior intelligence officials, dated 2 days ago, August 16th. Okay? Same day, I believe, John Brennan published his op-ed. So I would have to ask these people that I'll read off in a moment, do you still agree with your opinion? It says, as former senior intelligence officials, we feel compelled to respond in the wake of the ill-considered and unprecedented remarks and actions by the White House regarding the removal of John Brennan's security clearances. We know John to be enormously talented, capable, and patriotic individual who devoted his adult life to the service of this nation. Insinuations and allegations of wrongdoing on the part of Brennan while in office are baseless. Since leaving government service, John has chosen to speak out sharply regarding what he sees as threats to our national security. Some of the undersigned have done so as well. Others among us have elected to take a different course and be more circumspective in our public pronouncements. Regardless, we all agree that the president's actions regarding John Brennan and the threats of similar actions against other former officials has nothing to do with who should and should not hold security clearances and has everything to do with a attempt to stifle free speech. You do not have to agree with what John Brennan says, and not all of us do, again, to agree with his right to say it, subject to his obligation to protect classified information. We have never before seen the approval or removal of security clearances used as a political tool, as was done in this case. Beyond that, this action is quite clearly a signal to other former and current officials as individuals who have cherished and helped preserve the right of the Americans to free speech, even when that right has been used to criticize us. That signals inappropriate and deeply regrettable. Decisions on the security clearances should be based on national security concerns and not political views. I agree with that. I don't agree with it in John Brennan's case. I don't agree with it with the jackass that actually signed this too, James R. Clapper. His jackass fucking security clearances should be revoked too. But it was Webster from 87 to 91, Tenton from 97 to 04, Gross 0506, Hayden 0609, Pineda from 09 2011, Petraeus from 2011-2012, Clapper 2010-2017, McLaughlin 2000-2004, Campus 2006-2010, Morrill 2010-2013, Haynes 2013-2015, Cohen from 2015-2017. Notice how nobody who's current has weighed in on this. And if they have, they weighed in on like CNN or MSNBC or whoever, and they're anonymous. Okay, they're anonymous. They don't want to be known. I think the CIA and the FBI do need to come out and actually say something on how they feel about this. To a degree, but that would also be a political situation, so maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. But in the two instances I said, one of which has not happened yet, I believe it is absolutely necessary and should have happened. Now, whether it should have happened by Trump personally, which he has the ability to do and obviously exercise that right, fine, but I think it should have gone through who holds the security clearance, and in that case would be the CIA. And said, hey, you need to look at this, you need to review this, you need to look at his statements, you need to do all this bullshit, blah, 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 okay? And tell me what your thoughts are on this. Come back to me. And I want it done within the next 24 to 48 hours, period, or your asses are going to be in trouble. Personally, that's probably how I would have handled it. Would I have even bothered with these people? I don't even know. I got better shit to do if I was Trump. But obviously, it bothers him because of the Russia thing. Fine. These two people have caused an issue with insinuating they know something, insinuating the sky is like a tree. The sky looks like a tree. Okay, that's all I gotta say. That's what they're doing on national television. And with that situation comes a huge national security issue for the intelligence community, military or private sector, contractors, anybody who's dealing with somebody who's overseas doing anything on our behalf. This is Are You Ready For It? Take care, guys. Have a great day.